Hey, everybody. Okay, so Jean Dixon. She was a psychic and a prophet, and she was famous in in the 60s, 70s, I think. I'm not sure, but she made a prophecy about something that seems like it might be coming true. Let's watch and see.
Dixon saw a powerful figure rising to lead the nation. A man who would capture the hearts of many, but also stir anger and division like never before.
So, do we know who she's referring to? She said, and I quote, "A man would rise to power who would be adored by many and hated by some."
She didn't name him, but she described him as bold, charismatic, and controversial. He would be
I wonder who she's referring to.
praised by some as a savior and hated by others as a threat. Dixon warned that under his leadership, the country would enter a time of spiritual testing. To those who believed in her gift, these visions weren't just predictions. They were messages, warnings meant to prepare the nation before it was too late. It wasn't in a headline. It wasn't.
Guess what? It's too late. That man she was referring to was Donald Trump.
Shouted from a stage. But when Jean Dixon first mentioned the vision of a man who would one day rise to lead America and divide it deeply, those who heard her words remembered them, because they carried a strange weight. There was something in her voice, in the way she described him, that felt different, almost like a warning wrapped in a mystery. She didn't use the word president directly at first. She referred to this person as a leader of great influence, someone who would attract crowds, challenge the traditional system, and create emotional waves across the nation.
Any of that ring a bell? Because that's exactly Donald Trump.
She said he would rise suddenly, as if from nowhere, and that people would either love him deeply or despise him completely. No middle.
And that's true because there's no middle ground. You either hate Trump or you love Trump. There's no middle ground, apparently. So I think this prediction was all about Donald Trump.
Ground. Dixon spoke of this figure as someone who would be both admired and feared. A man with great charisma, boldness, and confidence. He would speak in a way that connected with the common person. Plain, direct, unpolished. But underneath the surface, she warned of a disruption he would bring. Institutions would shake, alliances would break, the country's moral compass would be tested.
And it's true. Since Donald Trump has been elected, there has been rioting. There has been people harming others. Evil deeds are now looked upon as good deeds, and good deeds are looked upon as evil deeds. We have fallen away from God. We have fallen away from the truth. And she saw this happening. A nation divided does not stand.
She described him as someone who would carry the flag with pride, but behind the flag would be conflict. Not only political, but spiritual. Dixon didn't say he was evil, but she said his arrival would mark the beginning of a spiritual struggle in the soul of America, between truth and deception.
We have radical Islamic leaders who are radical Islamic people who are trying to become leaders of cities. We have people fallen away from God like never before. We are in a spiritual decline, and we are in a spiritual warfare against extreme radical Islamic ideology and
Deception. Between
deception
unity and division.
and division.
For decades, this prophecy was filed away, almost forgotten. But as the years passed and the nation grew more divided, people began to remember. Who was the man she saw? Was he already among us? Or had he already come?
He's already
Some believe the
here.
answer is clear.
He's in the
Others
presidency
are still
office.
waiting to see. Jeane Dixon was known for speaking in symbols, metaphors.
Now, the thing about it is what people don't realize is, yes, we have Donald Trump as a leader for 4 years. But in those 4, and what is going on? Nothing but hate and division. But what could happen is our leaders could work together. Here's a shocking thing. How about our leaders, instead of fighting each other, how about they work together to make this nation a great nation and stop dividing the nation? Because that's exactly what is going on right now between the Democratic and Republican leaders. They are trying to actively divide us. Don't let them. Come on, be smarter than them.
And visions that felt more like scripture than news headlines. But when it came to this mysterious man, the one she said would one day change the course of America, her words became unusually direct, almost chilling in their precision. She described him as a man with the face of charm, but the heart of conflict. She said he would appear strong and fearless, yet carry within him a fire that burns too wildly. In one of her visions, she saw him standing before great crowds, with people cheering and waving flags. But in the same vision, she also saw shadows behind him. Noise, confusion, and a storm that wouldn't go away. Dixon once wrote, "He will rise not through tradition, but through disruption. The people will choose him, not for his past, but for his promise of breaking the system." She also warned, "He will speak like no leader before him. His words will
Which
cut
is
through
true.
like a sword, stirring the
True.
soul of the nation, for
True.
better or for worse."
True.
She didn't give him a name.
Donald
but
Trump.
She gave details. He will come from wealth. He will walk among the powerful, but speak like the common man.
Donald
He
Trump.
will be loved fiercely and hated deeply.
Donald Trump.
His time will mark a turning point in the battle for America's spirit.
Donald Trump.
Some who read these words in her later books or interviews brush them off as poetic exaggeration. But after decades, when a leader fitting that exact profile did rise, her descriptions began to feel less like prophecy and more like a mirror held up to reality. Whether coincidence or divine insight, Dixon's exact words continue to echo, not just as a description of a man, but of a moment in history that may still be unfolding. For decades, Jeane Dixon's prophecy of a divisive and powerful figure seemed like just another strange part of her long list of predictions. But when Donald Trump entered the political scene, many began to look back at her words with new eyes. Suddenly, details that once felt symbolic now felt concrete, too specific to ignore. She had spoken of a man who would rise not through the traditional paths of politics, but through disruption. Trump, a businessman with no prior political office, entered the 2016 race as an outsider. His campaign was based on challenging the establishment, breaking norms, and speaking directly to the forgotten Americans. Dixon's prediction described exactly that kind of rise. She had said the man would come from wealth.
And he
Trump's
did.
background in real estate and media matched that perfectly. Dixon warned that he would be admired by many and attacked.
And he did.
By just as many. That too came true. Trump became one of the most polarizing figures in modern political history, celebrated by millions and condemned by millions more. Even more striking was her description of a leader who would cause a great shaking, not just in politics, but in the spirit of the nation. During Trump's presidency, the U.S. experienced unprecedented political division, mass protests, intense media battles, and deep cultural rifts. Supporters saw him as a necessary force of change. Critics saw him as a threat to democracy. Many now believe Dixon's prophecy was never vague. It was a glimpse into a future that only fully made sense when Donald Trump stepped onto the political stage. Her words, once mysterious, now seemed like a script unfolding in real time. To those who have followed her visions for years, this was the moment they had been waiting for.
So basically, Gene Dixon called it. Donald Trump came from wealth. He rose through the ranks of power and became the president. And it is now 2025, and he is still the president. And guess what? We are so divided as a nation. There are so many people that love and support Donald Trump, but there is just as many that hate and despise Donald Trump. We need to stop the hate and despise and come together, because a nation divided will fall. So if you all want our nation to fall, keep acting the way you're acting, and her vision will become a reality.
And it wasn't over yet. Despite the eerie precision of Gene Dixon's words, her prophecy about a powerful, divisive leader remained buried in obscurity for decades. It wasn't because the vision lacked weight. Quite the opposite. It was likely because the details were too unsettling, too disruptive to be taken seriously in their time. In the years following her most famous predictions, Dixon became both revered and ridiculed. The media often painted her as a sensational figure, and skeptics used her occasional inaccuracies to discredit the bigger picture. Over time, her voice, once respected in political and religious circles, began to fade into the background. People moved on, dismissing
As all great prophets do.
her words as relics of a strange past. There's also the fact that her prophecy didn't point to any known political figure at the time. The man she described didn't exist yet. At least, not in the public eye. Without a face to match the words, many considered the prediction too vague or too far-fetched. It lacked context. And so, it was set aside. But perhaps the most important reason her warning was ignored lies in human nature itself. People often turn away from messages that bring discomfort. Dixon didn't speak of peace or healing in this vision. She spoke of division, of spiritual conflict, of a storm coming to the nation's soul. It wasn't the kind of message that people want to hear. It asked too many questions. It shook the foundations of comfort. Only when Donald Trump rose to prominence, with all the traits Dixon had mentioned decades earlier, did the old writings resurface. Researchers, believers, and curious minds began connecting the dots. The vision had been there all along. The warning had been clear. But no one wanted to believe it, until it was already happening. As history unfolded, many began to realize that Gene Dixon's vision wasn't just about one man. It was about a moment. A spiritual turning point, a nation in conflict with itself. And when the events of the last decade are placed beside her prophecy, the similarities are striking. Dixon had spoken of a leader who would cause deep emotional division in the country. Under Donald Trump's presidency, America saw some of the most intense social and political.
And it's true. So basically, Donald Trump became president, and this country got divided. What people don't realize, and it's true, a nation divided does not stand. We will fall if we don't start coming together. We will fall as a nation if we don't start coming together and working together. Our leaders, our Democratic and Republican leaders, can't get past their own stupidness and bullheadedness to work together. And they need to. Because this nonsense needs to stop. The division. Otherwise, all these prophets like Gene Dixon, Nostradamus, Baba Vanga, all their words will come true. All their prophecies will happen in real time because we, the people, are making them happen. Okay, guys and gals? So check out these prophecies and check out Mysterious Paths. Show them the love. Give them the like. And I'll tell you why. Because not all prophets didn't speak the truth. Just because the truth isn't always easy to hear doesn't make it not truth. Okay, guys and gals? So check them out. Give them the like, give them the love, show them the respect, and don't forget to hit that like, hit that subscribe for more. Let's get this nation back on its feet. Let's start being together and not divided. Because I don't know about y'all, but I love America. I love the freedoms that America has given me. I love my country, and I don't want to see it fall. So let's get together and stop the fighting amongst each other and make our leaders work together instead of just causing division and hate like people like Hakeem Jeffries likes to do, and people like Jasmine Crockett and AOC. They don't want to bring us together. They want to divide us. Chuck Schumer wants us divided. So they all want us divided. So let's not let them win. Let's work together and get together. Okay? Because that's what will make us stronger than anything else. Peace out, Cub Scouts. Don't forget, hit that like and subscribe. God love you. Peace out. I'll catch you on the flip.